Hey friends, Oibi. I hope you all had a happy new year and a happy holidays. I figured I would start off 2024 by having my first video of the year being my top budget camera recommendations for 2024. Now, before I get into that, I just want to say thank you so much for almost 300 subscribers. I never thought that I would even have this many on my channel. This is just something I do for fun, so I really appreciate that you all follow along and enjoy what I do, and I'm excited to bring some more content with me into this new year. Now, budget is different for everybody, so for the purposes of this video, all of the cameras I'm going to be talking about are going to be under $1,000. All of the cameras mentioned also will have been released within the past couple of years, and it'll be a mix of point and shoot and interchangeable lens cameras. With that said, let's get into it. The first camera we're going to talk about today is the pretty fresh and popular DJI Osmo Pocket 3. The DJI Pocket has been an incredibly popular camera specifically for people who are interested in vlogging, people who are interested in having a compact travel setup, people who want a small camera that has great stabilization because of its built-in gimbal, and even for people who maybe have a lot of anxiety when it comes to filming in public, having a small form factor camera like the Pocket 3 really helps with being able to capture that content without feeling too exposed, so to speak, holding like a giant mirrorless or DSLR camera out in public. Some features of the Osmo Pocket 3 include a brand new 1-inch sensor, a 2-inch rotating touchscreen on the back, it can shoot up to 4K 120, and you have the option to film in 10-bit and D-Log for those of you who have the camera and want to kind of dip your toes into some color grading. The Osmo Pocket 3 costs $519 for the camera itself, but I would suggest bringing the extra $150 for the Creator Combo. So what the Creator Combo does is it gives you the Osmo Pocket 3. It gives you an extended battery grip handle, it gives you a tripod attachment for the camera, and it gives you a couple other extras as well as the DJI Mic 2, which works with the built-in transmitter inside the Pocket 3. So you pretty much get an entire filming setup all for under $700 that you can use for vlogging, you can use for YouTube videos, content creation, pretty much anything that you would need or want to do, you could get done with that camera setup. Now, there is one thing to be cautious with when it comes to the Pocket 3, and that is that there have been some reports of people having broken rotating touchscreens, whether that be brand new from factory or after a couple weeks of use. I'm not sure if DJI has fixed that or not, so I would definitely be a little bit cautious if you are thinking about purchasing one, but I think if you're willing to take the risk, it is a really good budget option, and it honestly gives you a lot for the price. The next budget camera option is actually the same camera, but just two different versions of it, and that is the Sony ZV-E10 and the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. Each of the camera versions have their own pros and cons, so I'll kind of give just like a general rundown of each camera version, some of the features it comes with, and why you may want one over the other. But if you want a more in-depth review specifically on the ZV-E10 and the ZV-E10 Mark II, there are a lot of specific videos on YouTube that get into the details of those two, and I highly suggest that you watch those if you have any interest in this camera. Now, both the ZV-E10 and the ZV-E10 Mark II have a 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor. They have a 3-inch flip-out LCD screen. They can shoot 4K 30 and have a couple of other features such as the background defocus and product showcase mode. With the ZV-E10, you get a 24-70 f1.8 to 2.8 zoom lens that has optical steady shot built directly into it, as well as a 2-stop built-in ND in the camera. The ZV-E10 Mark II, however, has an 18 to 50 f1.8 to f4 zoom lens. It has a 3-stop built-in ND, a couple improvements to the autofocus and touchscreen navigation, as well as a brand new 3-capsule multi-directional microphone. The touchscreen on the ZV-E10 Mark II is also fully touch compatible, whereas with the ZV-E10 original, the touchscreen only really can do a couple things like touch focus. Now, the ZV-E10 costs $750, whereas the ZV-E10 Mark II costs $898. And this is where most people decide whether or not the increase in price is worth getting the ZV-E10 Mark II over the original ZV-E10. If you're only really interested in using the widest end of the focal range, the ZV-E10 Mark II gives you a lot of really good improvements over the ZV-E10, as well as giving you that wider field of view at the widest end. But if you do want to use the full breadth of the zoom lens, I think personally the ZV-E10 has a better lens with built-in optical steady shot if you're willing to compromise on some of the upgrades that you will lose out on if you choose the ZV-1 over the ZV-1 Mark II. Moving into interchangeable lens cameras, we have another Sony camera, and that is the ZV-E10. The ZV-E10 is an APS-C camera with a 24 megapixel sensor, and it is capable of shooting up to 4K 30. It has a 3-inch flip-out screen and features the same product showcase mode and background defocus that we previously mentioned with the Sony ZV-1. This camera was extremely popular with YouTubers and content creators when it first came out because it packs a lot of punch for not a lot of price at the time when compared to other camera bodies that were released around the same time. Even now, creators like Mark Bennett still sing high praises of this camera, which just goes to show that both beginners and professionals can benefit from what this camera has to offer. Now, my only gripes with this camera is that it does have pretty bad rolling shutter and it does not have a fully touch-capable screen. So similar to the ZV-1, the ZV-E10 only can really do touch focus and a couple of other settings with the camera, but you can't actually go in and adjust menu settings or do anything else with the touchscreen. You can really just do the touch focus and a couple of other options. The ZV-E10 costs $698 just for the body only, or you can get it for $798 for the camera body and kit lens. The last camera on this list is one that I have actually owned previously, and that is the Nikon Z30. Yes, I did just release a video explaining all of the reasons why I got rid of my own Z30, but I do still think it's a really good budget camera option, and I did really love my Z30 while I had it at the time. The Nikon Z30 is an APS-C camera with a 20 megapixel sensor. It can shoot up to 4K 30. It has a flip-out vlog-style touchscreen, and it's probably one of the most ergonomic camera bodies that I've ever held up until this point. Now, I used this camera for both photo and video when I had it, and I think it performed wonderfully. I'll insert some clips of both some video footage and photos that I've taken with this camera just so you can kind of see about the same results that you get. And of course, I do go in and edit all of my photos and videos in post. So I shoot in RAW for photo, and then the video I shot in the neutral color profile and then added a little bit of color work on top, not too much because you unfortunately can't shoot log with the Nikon Z30. But I think for the market of people who are using the Z30, most will not really want to use or take advantage of log footage. And one more thing that the Z30 has that I don't think any of the other cameras I've mentioned so far have, and that is weather sealing. So that is a huge plus if you plan to go shooting in rain, in snow, in sand, in the desert. Just knowing that your camera body is well protected against most elements. Now, the only thing that absolutely annoyed me about the Z30 was the charging cable that it comes with. So the charging cable is just like a standard USB-C to USB cable, but it was very finicky when it came to what I had to plug it into in order to get the camera to charge. Sometimes I would plug the camera into the wall using just a standard USB charging brick and the cable, and it just wouldn't charge. And the Nikon Z30 user manual says to charge your camera by plugging it in directly to a computer or a laptop, which does work, but then in my case, I have a laptop, so I have to plug the Z30 into my laptop and then plug my laptop into the wall to make sure that my laptop doesn't die while I'm charging my camera. And it also charges very slowly in that way. So it's not the most ideal situation. And you can kind of circumvent this by purchasing a Nikon specific charger that you can buy that charges the battery directly. And I think it's a huge benefit to have something like that over just a regular USB-C cable, especially a USB-C cable that doesn't really work that well. As far as pricing goes, there are a handful of variations of the Z30 and lenses and accessories that all fall under $1,000. So I'm just gonna list them out from cheapest to most expensive and then give my suggestion for what I think would be the best choice for you if you decide to go with the Nikon Z30. So the Z30 for just the camera body is going to be $700, or you can get the camera body and kit lens for $850. If you want a slightly wider lens and a lens that also has power zoom, you can get the Z30 with the 12 to 28mm power zoom lens for $950. And for $990, you can get the Creator Combo. And the Creator Combo comes with the Z30, the kit lens, a Rode Video Micro, and a small rig tripod that also comes with a detachable wireless remote for the camera itself. The Creator Kit is what I had, and I think if you don't own any camera accessories at all, you don't own a external microphone, you don't own a small vlogging tripod or any of that, I think it can be a good deal. However, in my experience, if you have all of those, or if you're not interested in the accessories that that kit has to offer, I think the Z30 with the 12 to 28 millimeter lens is going to be a way better option than any of the other variations that you could get with the Z30. That's it for today. Hopefully this video gave you some good insight into what cameras may potentially work well within your budget, and hopefully offered you some good info as far as what camera you think will work best for you. As always, thank you so much, and I will see you all next time. This camera was really popular with YouTube video. Oh my god. Screen, it's like the selfie, what is it? It's more like tripod grip, okay. Why can't I say that? Okay.